Good evening and welcome to the final opening remark of this show. In the news this week, at Sellafield there are fears that nuclear waste is proving increasingly difficult to dispose of. Animal rights protesters are accused of overreacting after they interview ants about allegations of police maltreatment. And West London police stage a protest demonstration to illustrate the effects of their stodgy canteen food. On Ian Hislop's team, a stand-up comedian who once performed on a show called Naked Radio, a programme which, fortunately for all of us, failed to make the transition to television, Fred McAulay. And with Paul Merton tonight, a woman who was once propositioned by Bill Clinton, an experience that sets her apart from virtually no one except perhaps Hillary Clinton, Germaine Greer. And so, with all the predictability of Cyprus voting for Greece in the Eurovision Song Contest, we start with round one, our customary film round. Ian and Fred, what can of worms is this?
That's Lord Nolan, the Nolan sisters there. That's his report, which is going like hotcakes. And then immediately there's a man with his foot in it, Jerry Wiggins. And there's Sebastian Coe trying to run away. Lord Nolan was appointed to look into sleaze, which he did. And that man is the latest Tory...
Sleazeball.
Sleazeball.
Well, Wiggins, I think, put in an amendment to... He got a gas bill and he didn't like it, so he passed it to Sebastian Coe. Coe looks far too young to be an MP. He just looks like a boy, and I think he kind of said OK to Wiggins, but don't tell anybody I said OK. And, you know, he's the kind of guy that would do your homework for you. I think Wiggins has probably got his crisps as well.
Actually, it was quite a sweet amendment. It was to guarantee gas supply to mobile homes. That's not the thing you expect a Tory lobbyist to be terribly concerned about.
It depends how much he's paid, doesn't it?
I think the problem was that the gas wasn't connected to anything. It was just...
It was in the back window.
It was just going to gas the people in the mobile homes.
Fred actually said earlier that Sebastian Coe knew about it, and Coe said he didn't. So you've accused him of lying. So, have fun in the court, Fred.
But Sebastian Coe is going to get into trouble. He's going to be punished for this, according to...
Not as much as me.
For his naivety in saying that this was true.
Really?
Or honesty, as some people call it. Nolan suggests that any earnings MPs make outside Parliament should be registered in separate bands. Under £1,000, between 1,000 and 5,000, between 5,000 and 10,000, and Mellor's gun-running dosh. Paul and Germaine. Some more sleaze for you, I'm afraid.
Oh, well, there's Piers Morgan, News of the World editor. Oh, God.
There is Lord Spencer. And there is Piers Morgan again, looking woebegone.
Yeah, woebegone and sheepish.
He penetrated the privacy of that insignificant pair of noble persons. And peered into the hospital room. Was it a hospital room?
No, I think it was a clinic.
Lunatic asylum. What was it? Oh.
I think it was... or a health farm, maybe.
And spied that young medieval lady.
The lovely Lady Spencer, you mean?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I'm not au fait quite with the...
With the news.
With the tiny rat.
I think that it was like they were spying on him, and he complains to the News of the World and the Press Commission, and Rupert Murdoch said, oh, it's nothing to do with me, my editors are entirely free to make mistakes on their own, and he told off Piers Morgan for doing so.
But you've been in the news this week as well, haven't you?
What?
Resigning from newspapers, that sort of thing.
How can you resign from a newspaper that never employed you? I was just writing a column for them. I just won't be writing anymore. I haven't even written the letter. I haven't had time to write the letter. I've been too busy trying to avoid any further sleaze.
I should explain that Germaine has had a terrific spat with another writer on The Guardian. And she ended up calling a fellow feminist a woman who had bird's nest hair, 3 fat inches of cleavage, and wore fuck-me shoes.
You know, that's actually incorrect. What I actually said was that women who are self-destructive, in particular those women whose self-image is so low that they cannot appear in public without their hairbirds nested all over the place, 3 inches of exposed cleavage, and fuck me shoes. I didn't actually name anybody.
This was in a piece about Suzanne Moore, though, wasn't it?
She had been named...
I mean, I hate to put 2 and 2 together.
She had been... You see, look, what really happened was...
Why would shoes want to be fucked anyway?
It's not the shoes. The shoes are a signal.
What sort of shoes are you wearing, Germaine?
Don't fuck me, shoes. Leave me alone, shoes, or I'll kick you in the face, shoes.
You're just checking.
But the oddest thing about all that was that column was a negotiating document. There were 12 hefty insults, and I thought I could trade it down and get away with 3 or 4. Instead, somebody gave the piece that would never, ever be printed to the Evening Standard. Now, why would somebody working for The Guardian give a Guardian column that's never been printed to the Evening Standard?
We may never care. No. So,
I care. It's to do with standards in public life, for heaven's sakes.
And you have challenged her to a mud wrestling match as well,
No, I said that what the column was mud wrestling, and they should just sit back and enjoy it, that it was a sport.
Can you get fuck me socks?
Sorry to drag it back to what might seem irrelevant, but the answer to your question was in fact, yes, the Press Complaints Commission ruling.
I didn't ask the question, you did.
Yes,
I sit here and answer them wrong.
Yeah, and you asked us, not Ian.
I'm just telling you. I was giving you the answer.
So, as links go, that one was pretty feeble.
It'll all make sense in the edit. It was many, many years ago. The Press Complaints Commission ruling against News of the World editor Piers Morgan. Earl Spencer's complaint rested on the fact that he has always jealously protected his family's privacy. When his child was born, he mounted a permanent guard outside the room where his wife and baby were, so no one could get in to disturb the Hello photographers. Ian and Fred, a political party for you.
Jerry Adams with some water. He's saying, that's crap, get me a decent drink. And Angelica Huston, Martin Sheen.
Who's that?
It's Jerry Adams again.
Brilliant.
I think it's about gullible Yanks.
Yes.
They only let Jerry Adams into America because they thought he was Grizzly's little cousin. Because generally they're not too bright as a nation. I know there's a lot of them in town just now to see the Dave Letterman, if we can say that.
I think we can say Dave Letterman, yes.
Who is Dave Letterman? Sort of American Postman Pat, is it?
I didn't actually catch this story, but I would guess that Jerry Adams is looking for money from Americans, and they're only too willing to give it to him.
Yes, it is the latest Hollywood bash for those lovable rogues, the IRA. Or at least its political wing, Sinn Féin. The Hollywood stars denied that their understanding of the IRA was superficial. Mickey Rourke said he'd been to Belfast, Martin Sheen's got a green jumper, and Angelica Houston once ate a potato. Paul and Germaine, a divine question for you.
Yes, this is a new religious channel, Arc TV or something. Abuse a priest for Christmas. You come up, or a white neck, and you just have a go at it. And you can sort of just be rude about various clerics, starting next year. First Christian TV station on satellite in this country.
It's actually called Arc 2 for some reason, as if
well, there was one before, wasn't there?
Was that right?
It's on top of Mount Ararat.
Arc 2, this time it's personal.
Yeah.
It is the new Christian TV station Arc 2, launched by, amongst others, the Bishop of Wakefield.
But is that a private joke?
It is, unless I tell somebody else, yeah.
Programme planners, apparently, at this new station say that they'll take inspiration from the Bible, which is rather worrying, given that the first line of the Bible is, "In the beginning was the Word."
Presented by Terry Christian, of course.
Yes. And at the end of that first round, the situation is that both teams have as many points as a triangle drawn by Princess Di, namely 4 each. Before a new improved round 2, a foretaste of some of the horrors we have in store in the form of our caption competition. Ian and Fred, this will be your inspiration. Paul and Germaine, this for you. Viewers of the television programme Through the Keyhole now may notice some similarities with our next round, given that it's exactly the same, apart from one or two small but important details, which hopefully will keep you interested and their lawyers quiet. 2 celebrity homes to pry into. To whom do they belong? Ian and Fred, you're first, as we go through the keyhole.
It's a big house.
Spotted.
Man with a rug in his head.
I think this must be Imran Khan's house.
Why?
Well, he's in the news. He's marrying Jemima Goldsmith, née Puddle Duck. She's become a Muslim to marry him. Because you have to marry Imran. All his girlfriends convert in the hope that they might be the one. Which is bad news, because you can't convert back.
Can you not?
Nope, that's it. If you convert back, it's fatwa time.
Well, we'll end up with a pair of fatwa shoes.
Private Eye reacted with customary taste by putting a picture of Imran Khan and Sir James Goldsmith on the cover. Imran said, "I'd like your daughter's hand," and Sir James said, "Why has she been shoplifting?"
It's like that old joke of the 2 guys driving through the Iraqi desert, and the guy's driving, and the passenger looks and he sees this sort of like his hand there, and there's a sort of dotted line all the way around it. And he said, "Oh, I see your appeal came through then."
Islamic custom stipulates that now they're wed, Jemima will have to stay 20 yards behind Imran at all times and will have to bear a child by him in the first year, the former stipulation making the latter somewhat difficult to achieve. Unless it's true what they say about him.
What, but he's got a 22-yard penis? It's the same length as a cricket pitch, isn't it? No wonder he got so many wickets.
Sorry, Angus, I was just wondering, if it is like Through the Keyhole, you're going to bring them in now?
Paul and Germaine, here's your chance to go through the keyhole.
Well, it's nobody's home. Ah, it's all gone dark. Oh, wallpaper there. First drawing for Batman. It's Hitler's bunker, isn't it?
He's snug.
Where he used to keep his coal. It's his bunker. It's Hitler's bunker.
Or play golf.
Yeah, or play golf, in
Yeah.
fact.
Or neither, in
Or,
fact.
or neither.
Yeah, or neither.
Or neither. Shall we call the whole thing off?
I was just about to, actually. Yes, it is the...
Well, don't let me keep you.
I'll be off then. It is the somewhat neglected Berlin residence, as you may noticed, of former occupant Adolf Hitler. Berliners are disputing whether neo-Nazis should be allowed to meet there or whether it should just be blown up. Why not do both? Which lifestyles of the rich and famous bring us snooping to the end of this round, and at the halfway stage, both teams' horns are firmly locked, neither being capable of exceeding 6. And so we put innovation to one side as we introduce for the 78th time our one-out round. 4 good men and true. Which one's Des Lynam's girlfriend? Paul, your alliterative 4 are Paul McCartney, Postman Pat, Prince Charles oat biscuits, and a pubic hair.
Well,
That's the artist formerly known as Prince.
The Postman Pat, they released some videos a few months ago that were sold in Woolworths that had soft porn. Instead of being Postman Pat, it was soft porn, Danish, gypsy, dentist on the job sort of thing.
What, in Greendale?
Yeah, absolutely.
Blimey,
Well,
Mrs.
Danish-
Goggins would have something to say.
Paul McCartney, now, Linda McCartney, there was this fuss about, because she produces these, Linda McCartney, she produces these vegetarian food, and wasn't there something about, there was some meat got into one of those vegetarian dishes, and the pubic hair was cut open and they found a meat pie in the middle of it. I guess Paul McCartney, because Linda McCartney was the one who suffered and all the others have been contaminated by... I don't know.
Can I have a stab?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, by all means.
The odd one out is the pubic hair.
What, because it's a pubic
Well,
hair and
no,
everything else?
because you'd be disgusted if you pulled back your bedclothes and found any of the other three.
It's
One
not the
last
right
stab?
answer. Yes, a final
For
one
me,
before I put you out of your
It's
misery.
the Prince Charles biscuit. It's a bit like the bed thing, but you'd be embarrassed if you opened your mouth and you'd any of the other three stuck to your teeth.
Well, before you go any further, I will give you one for getting the right thing, but I'll tell you what the reason is. The answer is that all of them have been banned in Japan, with the exception of Prince Charles' Duchy original biscuits, which are now on sale there. A deal to market postman Pat in Japan stalled because Pat only has 4 fingers, which in Japan symbolises that he's a member of the mafia. The Japanese were also a little anxious about the episode where Pat wakes up to find the head of the black and white cat at the bottom of his bed. Until very recently, pictures involving pubic hair were banned in Japan. By law, any photographic model revealing pubic hair had to be touched up by the photographer. Germaine, your 4 like minds are Barbie, Ken, Pamela Anderson, and Salman Rushdie.
I think probably the Barbie doll and Baywatch, the implant show, and
Pamela
Salman
Anderson, as she's
Rushdie,
What's it known as?
are all proscribed in Islamic countries, or is it just Saudi Arabia or something like that? And only the gay gentlemen in the top right-hand corner
Ken.
are allowed in.
Yes.
Is Ken gay?
I meant jolly. I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. I'm very old. I use words.
It's an outing show, is it?
Oh, where
That's
we
his
going?
days in the army, done
I could have bought sandwiches.
It's actually that all of them except Ken are subject to a fatwa handed down by the Iranian government. Barbie has been called a she-devil by the Islamic leaders, who have taken her off the shelves and locked her away. A little Terry Waite doll has now been sent out to try and get her released. Leching over Pamela Anderson has been banned under Iranian Islamic law, and toy company Mattel have recently launched a Baywatch Barbie. Ordinarily, a Barbie doll is blonde, plastic and empty-headed, so God knows how they've changed it. Fred, your inhuman foursome are Dracula, Jeffrey Dahmer, Vinnie Jones, and Richard Whiteley of Countdown.
Is this a count thing? Because he's a Count Dracula, and Richard Whiteley presents Countdown, and Vinnie Jones, he's a useless count.
Is it biting?
Biting. Jeffrey Dahmer ate human flesh of the people that he'd killed, and Dracula was a bloodsucker, and Vinnie Jones bit somebody's bum, I believe.
Slightly further up the body than the bum, but...
With his head?
No.
Back?
nose it was, yeah.
Whose nose did he bite?
I don't think anyone cares, do they?
Richard Whiteley's the odd one out because he was bitten by a ferret and all the others have been bitten other things.
Interestingly, that's exactly what Fred was just about to say, weren't you? Yes, you are right, obviously.
So, I think it's a biting question. Jeffrey Dahmer, he ate the flesh of his victims.
Yes, that strange feeling of déjà vu. Jeffrey Dahmer killed and ate 17 young men in Milwaukee, keeping their bodies in a fridge. Controversial plans to sell the fridge in a public auction have immediately hit a problem. Apparently the little light doesn't always come on when you open the door. Finally, in this round, your four oddballs are Gaza, UB40, Article 1 of the Ground Nuts Order, and a bouncy castle.
UB40, there's a lot of them.
That's one of the most pathetic answers I've ever heard.
Well, no, I won't give the answer until they've exhausted every possible...
No, don't let's stop you, Mr. Swat.
Well, I suspect this is because there was the judge a couple of years ago who said, who's Paul Gascoigne, and I believe the same sort of situation happened with who's UB40, because there was a problem with bootleg tapes or whatever. So I presume it's either the ground nuts or the bouncy castle. He didn't know what a bouncy castle was. It's the same judge, perhaps, and the ground nuts, he knew what they were.
Is the right answer.
Ian, I know why Paul always wins. It's because he's quite good at the game.
All judges are naturally familiar with the crucial piece of legislation known as the Ground Nuts Order, which states, in the nuts unground other than ground nuts order, the expression nuts shall have reference to such nuts other than ground nuts as would, but for this amending order, not qualify as nuts unground other than ground nuts by reason of there being nuts unground. So I hope that's cleared that up for any ground nuts fans. All of which blissful ignorance leaves us dithering at the end of this third round, and the story so far is that Ian and Fred are starting to wilt with 9, while Paul and Germaine have a budding 10. And so to our final missing words round, this week brought bang up to date with the inclusion of our guest publication, the slightly worrying Pig World. We assume it's a farming publication. Extra body fat gives women what?
Saddlebags.
Column in The Guardian that Germaine can get stroppy about.
Oh.
Bigger clothes. Bigger clothes.
You can't just get the points by saying it again. No, obviously the answer is advantage in mountaineering.
Oh, yeah.
Next, Queen is down to her what?
Bookmakers every lunchtime? Last billions.
Yes, almost there.
Last million.
Her last half corgi.
500 million?
Not far off. I'll give you one each. Last 450 million is, in fact...
Not far off. He says billions and he gets within 50 million. Not
Well, you've got a
far off.
point. I think I might take it away from you. This sort of attitude. Next, Body Shop's latest idea, what? Applied all over.
Pig oil.
Pig oil? What's pig oil? Oh, that stops them squeaking, yeah, I know. Fish cakes and beef.
It's an excellent answer, Paul.
Mayonnaise.
In fact,
Ground nuts.
that's a less excellent answer. Steel and concrete is the rather baffling answer. It in fact refers to a new laboratory in Sussex. Next, poignant reunion as Charles and Diana share what?
Bullet.
Needle.
Embrace.
Needle?
Certainly not. Sun smiles is the heartwarming answer. And, sorry, everyone's going to throw up at it. And, finally, Lord Lucan to visit what?
Shergar in Atlantis.
Pig farm.
I'll give Pig Farm, yes, it's this year's Pig Fair, is in fact... which is not a correct headline. It's actually Pig World's idea of a joke, which is obviously not remotely amusing, but there we are. Which mindless drivel concludes the voting in tonight's contest, and the news is that this week's German Eurovision entries are Paul and Germaine with 12, whilst this week's triumphant Norwegians are Ian and Fred with 14. And all because of Pig Farm. Well done. Congratulations.
Don't patronise us.
Just never happened before. Yes.
My lucky night.
What have you got under that desk?
Lord Lucan.
So,
And he hasn't been wasting his time these last 20 years. Got a very gentle touch for such a big man.
that's...
And the moustache, too.
No, that's not actually his moustache.
And you wonder where we got the pubic hair from. But before we leave you, let's pay a hopefully brief visit to our caption competition. Ian and Fred, this was yours, I think.
Yeah, this was John Major announcing, "The cabinet are all behind me."
Or else he's saying... He's got white tassels attached to his nipples. And he's saying, and now I'm going to make them go anti-clockwise.
Very good, thank you very much. Paul and Germaine, what did you think of this?
Tiny people threatened by shredded wheat slick.
Wooden power stations, not a good idea.
Big bad wolf hits town.
This is from Alaska, and the husky is saying, that was my kennel. I blame Islamic fundamentalists.
On which puzzling note we say thank you...
Elton John's wig is inhabited.
His hair transplant.
It does look very similar. We say thank you to our panellists.
No, thank you.
No, please.
Please, it's been my pleasure.
No, it's
very good of you to come.
Yeah.
Well,
it is, actually, yes. I can't be bothered to thank them any longer. But I leave you with news that residents who live at the bottom of the hill in the Direct Line insurance commercial say that they're getting rather fed up. BBC chiefs deride the idea of employing a Yorkshire Terrier as a newsreader on account of his arriving late for the audition. And the Japanese police are still hunting the prankster who put a giant magnet under the table where an MP with several fillings was sitting. Good night.